Hey everybody, Ben here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up for yourself each and every day. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thank you. We're going to get into an emotion here we might be struggling with, looking for a way to understand it, navigate our way through it. So we got competitive. I did see the opposite first, and I think that's a great opposite. So competitive. Uh, we're just going to go right into the opposite. It'll make easier sense. Conscious. And I didn't see that word. I saw curious. I saw curious. Competitive. So when I think of that, normally we can look at uh, games and sports, and then we can dive right into comparison in general, and maybe work, friend groups, uh, sizing up who we're dating, our partners, what values they have, real uh, ego-driven stuff, which is fine. But when I saw curious, why would we be competitive? Why are we involving the comparison? Why is that deemed necessary? We're sizing ourselves up for some reason to others to see how we're doing in this hierarchy. Why is power so important to feel whole in your own? Why do we need to appear that way or surround ourselves with things to show that we are, the word inferior is coming, to others? Why don't we already know? Why don't we feel good enough as we are? Why? Becoming conscious of our motives, our decisions, our actions helps us understand this, makes us make different decisions. If we really think about it, if we need to surround ourselves with people or accomplish certain things to create that image external of us, or for the external, I should say, to feel good about ourselves, or to feel like we have a say in something, or that we're smart, or that we know that we make the best decisions. We don't believe any of that stuff inside. That's not here. I wouldn't have to express myself that way. I wouldn't have to be number one to feel good. I wouldn't have to be in that position so people say things about me to feel good enough. And then we have to ask ourselves, why didn't we feel that way in the first place? What happened? Maybe we don't remember. Maybe we have a little idea of why it happened. And uh, we created uh, a way to make ourselves feel that way because somebody didn't, or someone took that away. A common saying I always say is, uh, any wound we have, any insecurity, any trigger, any lack, any fear that we have, the external created it. And why would we go back to them to fix it? It's quite a curious question to ask. We're going back to the abuser, if we will. We have to do all this inside. We create this foundation inside of us. And we don't need that to validate who we are or to prove ourselves to anybody or anything. Constantly through our experience, we are looking for that validation, for that proof that how we feel is true. If I don't feel good enough about myself, maybe if somebody else showed me that praise or that appreciation or told me I was good at X, Y, or Z, or I look good, or you have such a beautiful partner, or you're so successful, maybe then I would believe that I am. So I'm constantly chasing this to uphold this image, this facade, and maybe they'll tell me that. But even if they did, it's not going to feel good enough. You're never going to feel like number one. Even if you're up on that podium and you're biting your gold medal or whatever the hell happens there, it's still not going to be good enough because you don't believe it. You don't believe it. And we can't go to the external to try to put something inside of us that we can't hold. And we can't hold that because we don't believe we can. Because something happened that told us we couldn't, or that we weren't ever going to be able to be in that space. So we'd have to change that. We'd have to change that view. We'd have to recognize that. We'd have to become conscious that my drive and the frustration that I feel when someone else succeeds or looks better in whatever thing they're doing or just being them drives me nuts, irritates me, upsets me, pushes me further to compete with their image or their body or their partners or their successes or their material, whatever it is. I am continuously striving to be something that no matter what I do out there is never going to give me what I want because I don't believe it. So we'll see what else we got here. Last judgment reversed. Avoidance. Avoiding the whole, what we could see there. The reasoning behind it all. That's probably tough. I'm curious, would we even want to change our ways? I'm trying to put myself in that position. You would know best. But I got into that frustration and irritation that somebody's doing more or being better or appearing better, and having to constantly chase that or try to do more to appear better seems a bit exhausting. How about that frustration? Never content. Nothing will ever be good enough because of what we talked about earlier. What would happen if you changed that? If you just said, I'm not going to do it for them anymore. They're not going to give me what I need. I'm going to create this inside, and not in an already ego energy. It is, I don't need them to tell me that I'm doing enough or that I am good enough. You can do that through yourself. And we can look back and maybe blame it on a parent or children at school or, through school and then college or work or whatever it is. But why do you want to be in a competition with yourself every day, every night, when the fuck are they doing? They don't live in your head. Maybe they do rent free because you're constantly in competition with them, but why do you want to live that life? Maybe you don't want to. Maybe this realization is bringing you to the point that you don't have to, that you can be free of this. And you can just be content. I'm starting to shake. Look, I got anxiety. Like, it's probably nervous. The High Priestess. Intuition. Got some great calming chills there after that anxiety. Maybe we're getting a couple messages here. Maybe we know we don't have to do this, but something inside of us is telling us that we have to. We often look at the wound inside. It's going to be the loudest. It makes the decisions for us. Because if not, it makes us feel a way that we don't like. So we give it what it wants. And that little external praise of whatever it may be connected to gives us enough to pacify it. But it's not enough because that wound can't allow this creation inside to exist. It's covering it up. It's covering up that heart space is coming through to love ourselves, to be okay with ourselves, who we are. And I just feel so difficult to say this. Like I don't think we can. I'm not saying this uh, in a less than, but it feels like it's unable to be comprehended that this is feasible, that this is possible, that this could exist, that this is even a space of living. It feels very difficult to understand. And we can really look at this as the energies that we involve ourselves in as well. Uh, Even if we were out of this space, people are going to put you in competitions because they're going to be running in the same energy. And maybe you are surrounded by these energies, and it's difficult to even see a different light, to see a different way because everyone else around you is that energy. We can really look at, well, whatever energy I am, my external is going to reflect that back to me. It's going to show me, and it's going to continuously show people in these competitions with themselves and with others all around. And it's like this, it's quite a destructive, it feels very vile, to be honest. Ace of Cups reversed. Repressed feelings. How can we get here? How can we see this? Everything trapped in there. It feels like a childhood thing, you know? Uh, we can see some families, the parents extend, what's that saying? Uh, a child raising a child, as in the parent never healed their childhood wounds, and then they're dumped on the child. This is how the genetic whole thing continues. Uh, we all have the same health problems because we're all dealing with the same wounds. They're passed on unless the parent healed and was the parent that they didn't have to raise their child. You have the opportunity to make that change, that choice, if you choose to have children. Regardless, you can heal this. Whatever was put on you, that you were never good enough. And sure, we started with sports and uh, games, and it could be related to that. But let's just look at like very basic, not being able to receive love, that you had to do things to receive love. You had to show up a certain way to be appreciated, uh, acknowledged. But at the same token, it wasn't really true love. It was conditions. And we could see how uh, walking into this adult life that everything's based on action and conditions. It doesn't even have to be, like I said, on games and sports. We could look at this now in an adult life relationship and things very uh, conditional in a romantic relationship. But the love exchange that we qualify as love or feelings or emotions uh, isn't really true. It never will be. We're in that cycle, we're in that energy. And that's okay, but we're seeing it now to make the decision or the opportunity to leave it, to be free of it, which isn't the easiest thing because, as before I said, it was very difficult to comprehend that this is even a feasible direction or an outcome, that I don't have to show up or do to be who I am, or to be in this energy of love, acceptance, that it's not conditional. That could just be through self, that we can only appreciate ourselves or praise ourselves if we worked really hard or accomplished this, that now it's okay for me to see myself in a good light. Nine of Cups reversed, reassessment. The opposite there is fulfillment. A lot of times we lead with this idea that I will be happy, that I will be content when I bring X, Y, or Z into my life. And when we start that journey, when we have that image, it's normally generated or led by a wound or an insecurity. We're doing it for that wound. And we don't see that. We don't understand it, and there's no blame. We don't know any better. We're doing the best that we can with what we experience. And if I just have this in my life, or I surround myself with this or that, it's going to bring me that fulfillment. I'm going to be at peace. I'm going to be happy. It's going to be a great life. And a lot of people, we put a lot of energy into that, going towards that. And then maybe we get there, or halfway there, we start to see this. We start to understand this. And we're like, wow, this wasn't going to do it for me at all. I was doing this for this wound. I was doing this to pacify it or to calm it, or it was leading me in this direction because it would have kept my wound alive, but it would have kept it calm enough that, we just go through life like we go through life. Reassessment is looking at a lot of these things in our life that we may have made these decisions or these choices or this direction or this was our goal or whatever it was connected to, that is for this. Queen of Pentacles. We got practicality. What do we really want? And can only ask that question when we be honest with ourselves. What's driving this? What do we think's on the other end? That being the best, or being acknowledged or praised, or however it is in the external, can we remove them from the question? Are we able to see that? Like if we remove all of that, you're the only person on earth. You're the only one here. There's no one to talk to. There's no one to date. What would you want to experience? I feel so fucking emotional right now. What do you want to feel right now? I'm gonna cry. It is like I'm feeling like you just want to have connection. You just want to feel like love. You're lonely at that point. And it feels like the driving force before was that condition, or that it was conditional, or that I had to show up in a certain way to receive this feeling. Now that everything's gone, that's all I want to feel. And our approach was wrong, because at the time, that's what gave us results. But it was this manipulated in our mind that this is what it feels like, this is what it looks like. And then we became an adult and we went through that, and we continuously led with that. So it's reforming what this actually looks like, what this actually feels like, and what the path towards it is. And this is going to be reformed inside. And then the mirror takes over. And our external is going to reflect that as well. I'm going to leave this here. If this resonated, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. If you need any more help with it, check out oceanprizes.com, and I will talk to y'all later. See ya.